Hey guys, thanks for joining me for yet another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. We are on February 24th, 2023, number 123. Whoa. So I'm just going to jump in with new releases this week. This is a week where I don't have lots of things to talk about. Last week's episode was quite long. I went through the Record Store Day 2023 list. So if you didn't see that video and you'd like a little bit of a kind of a brush up on the stuff that's coming out, I would watch that. Get your pen and pencil or whatever, paper ready. Um, it was lengthy, but I tried to kind of point out the main things about the sort of main releases on that list to look for. So if you get a chance, you have a free 40 minutes, 50 minutes, go watch that. Orders are being placed now. So hopefully, you're going to be good with what you request. We try to get as much of things as we can and ask that you support the store with something, even if it's not necessarily the thing that you had your heart set on. It takes a lot of effort to continue doing what we do. And I keep mentioning to people, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, haha. But if you don't support the store in between the record store days, it becomes very difficult for us to finance doing a record store day event. And I don't know if the general public sort of senses that at all. They maybe just think that stores are making a ton of money or profit off of this stuff. And look, first of all the record companies have raised their prices. So, yes, we have to raise ours, but also they're squeezing our margins. So, we're actually making less and less all the time, hopefully selling as many as we did last time. We don't really know. And there are many factors going into what record companies want to allow your store to purchase. If they think that you can't sell blah blah amount or whatever, they start getting really tense about letting certain amount of product go out to you. So they'll start cutting you down and things like that. So again, we need the revenue to be able to pay the bills and show that we can pay the bills in between these things. So, I don't mean to harp on it, but it's something to think about, because we do get a fair amount of people that only show up for Record Store Day. And I appreciate that a lot because it does help. But it also kind of puts the burden of weight on the people that are here all the time to try and carry everything else too. So anything you can do to help is great. Check our Discogs store too, whatever. All right, so new releases. Biggest new release of the week, in my opinion. I mean, as far as sales potential and all, and probably level of popularity. The new Gorillaz album, Cracker Island. This is very interesting because the last Gorillaz album, which came out about 2 years ago, was called Song Machine Volume 1. And I think everyone was expecting Song Machine Volume 2, and that's sort of what this started as, and it's sort of what it plays as, but there is no mention of Song Machine in the title. Now, Song Machine Volume 1 was a sort of a loose collection of sort of random tracks that Damon Albarn had done with several different performers, collaborations. And this album also features a bunch of collaborations, not as many as that. Also, not as little as some of the other albums. There are two albums that I sort of will reference this kind of sounding like really three. It kind of grew out of Song Machine. It has more of a sound to me of like the Now Now, if you heard that album, which was a little more sort of Damon centric and a little more pop leaning. But it also has some elements of this album, Plastic Beach, in the sense that it's very sort of environmental conscious, things about things going on in the world. So it's probably in a way, and it's also one of their most concise albums. Um, 10 tracks, 40 minutes. I mean, it really plays like a modern sort of pop record. And it's great for what it is. I think Greg Kurstin's involvement, is super producer from the band Geggy Ta, if anybody remembers them, but yeah, I'm sure they do. But, super producer to everyone from Foo Fighters to Kylie Minogue to Paul McCartney. He's worked with a ton of people. And he really does a great job. I think one of his strengths is sort of in electronic music. The other people, he generally just gives them the best presentation that he can. But with electronic music, I think he really always hits his stride. And this is like some of the best electronic pop I've heard in like at least a year, probably. Thundercat, that song's been out. Stevie Nicks, her feature is really cool. And then the Tame Impala track, which has been out as a single, sounds almost more like a Tame Impala song, but it's really great. And the Beck track at the end is good. There's other tracks in here. Silent Running is a really great song featuring an artist that I don't really want to attempt his name. It's Adele Omoteo, somebody that Gorillaz or Damon works with a lot. This is the indie exclusive purple vinyl, neon purple colored vinyl. So grab that while you can, because I don't know, it's probably less hip hop than some of their other records, especially the early ones, and certainly less hip hop than Humans. But it's still a really pleasing record, and it'll be a great summer record because it has that kind of summery, almost like tropical vibe at times. So definitely check it out. Another great release this week, I think, is David Bowie's Divine Symmetry. And sorry about the glare here. This album is basically derived from the box set that came out last fall. That was the Hunky Dory box set. So you get a lot of similar imagery. But what these are alternate versions of the songs from Hunky Dory. It has some of the Bo promo mixes that were Record Store Day several years ago, and then 2021 mixes, and sort of a mix of the two to give you sort of a different perspective on what is one of David Bowie's top three, well, at least top five albums, I think. Hunky Dory, great early album. This one features Changes, Oh You Pretty Things, Life on Mars, Kooks, Andy Warhol, Song for Bob Dylan. It's great. So that's very interesting. All right, and then in the box set category this week, I got to show the Neutral Milk Hotel box set. This thing is pretty massive, and this is supposedly what they say the collected works of Neutral Milk Hotel to this point. And what this features is the LP of In the Airplane, and the On Avery Island as a 2 LP, which says it features the full length of Free Sisters, Live at Jittery Joe's, a 12-inch picture disc, Ferris Wheel on Fire EP 10-inch, Everything 10-inch, Little Bird 7-inch, Where You'll Find Me Now 7-inch, and Holland 7-inch, and two 2x2 foot posters. So it's quite large. It's very reasonably priced, I think, for what it is. Now there's I would say not a ton of studio music that hasn't been released before, but it's a really great set for collectors. So check that out. Heavy. Another kind of cool little set this week we get is The Strokes. This is the singles box set. And so these are all 45s from 2001 to 2006. So it includes the singles from Is This It, Room on Fire, and First Impressions of Earth, the A and B sides. It's about 120 bucks almost. It's got, oh, I don't know. It looks like 10, I think 10, 7 inches. Yeah. So if you're a Strokes fan, that's a collector's piece. Ugh. And a lot of these, we may not have a ton of them sitting around, but there's the ability to get more. Another box set, Watt Stacks, and this is the concert, complete concert edition from 1972, sort of like Stax Records version of Woodstock at the time. Features performances from Isaac Hayes, Rufus Thomas, Albert King, Carla Thomas, William Bell, the Bar-Kays, Eddie Floyd, Kim Weston, staple singers, and more. This is the CD version. Features an 80-page color book. And let's see. I think the vinyl, we didn't get the vinyl of this yet. I think it's a couple $100. So if you want the vinyl, you'll probably have to let us know. Otherwise, we'll probably just be doing the CD. All right. Let's see. A few more new records. Shame, Food for Worms, post-punk band. This is limited edition purple vinyl. That seems to be a popular color today. Love the artwork. It's a little different for them. They're post-punk band, sort of along the lines of like, I guess you could sort of put them in with Interpol, or maybe it's not quite as like politically charged as, say, like Viagra Boys, but it's somewhere maybe along those lines, I guess, if I were asked to give a sort of description. Lucero's new album, should have learned by now. Lucero's been around for a long time. This features the song One Last F.U. So, I mean, these guys are great. They're sort of like, I don't know, I want to call them like a great bar band, but they don't hold back. As you can tell from the title. U.S. Girls, Bless This Mess. And this is the new album from U.S. Girls. I'm trying to remember the woman's name. Sorry, I don't have it on the tip of my tongue. But sort of somewhere between electro pop, a little funky, and indie. Sort of. It's got 4AD on the cover here, her label. Looks like a pregnancy picture here. There's one song called it's Your Body Fills Me, Boo, is what it says here on the back. I'm kind of anxious to hear this because I think they've been getting more and more interesting with every release, and what I've heard so far sounds pretty good. So if you sort of like indie dance or whatever, that could be sort of something. I think there's some balladry too. Steel Panther on the prowl. Well, I don't know what can be said about Steel Panther that hasn't been said already. The sticker says 13 bitchin' new songs guaranteed to get you laid, supercharge your party, and make you laugh. That's probably about right. I don't know about the first one, but anyway. Oh, songs Friends with Benefits on your Instagram. Some of these I don't know if I can say out loud. No, there's some that I definitely won't say out loud. And it's not like they even have curse words in them. They're just that humorous. All right. It's time for some reissues. Ghost, Pope Star, EP. This actually, I haven't seen it in a long time. Milky clear color vinyl. Features their cover of Nocturnal Me, the Echo and the Bunnymen song, Missionary Man, the Eurythmics song. Got some other great stuff too. Check that out. This looks pretty awesome. John Lee Hooker, Burnin'. This is on Craft Recordings, and not only that, but newly remastered from the original analog tapes. features the song Boom Boom. Yeah, it's got a really nice kind of thick tip-on sleeve. Oh, it's not tip-on, but it's that thick stock cardboard that Kraft does really well. Same thing with their reissue remaster of Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs. This is also part of Stax Records. This is the 60th anniversary on green vinyl. I should have said that this is on red vinyl as well. So it's cool that they're sort of color collector things. Let's see. This booklet features liner notes by music historian David Ritz, photos, and Stax Records ephemera. So, Green Onions is one of those songs that people, if you ask them, they'd say, like, I don't know what that is. And then they hear it and they're like, I know what that is. Yeah. Art Pepper meets the rhythm section. So this came out last year for Record Store Day. Still have a couple of mono copies left, surprisingly. And now they're releasing a stereo version. So Contemporary Records Acoustic Sound Series. Let's see. All analog mastering by Bernie Grunman. Pressed on 180 gram vinyl. So if for some reason the mono didn't float your boat, you've got a stereo one that you can get now. And I don't know why someone wouldn't have wanted the mono one, because that was one of the most highly sought after Record Store Day things last year. All right. Vince Guaraldi. Guaraldi. It's probably Guaraldi. If you're saying it like Italian. Deluxe expanded 3 LP edition of this is impressions of jazz impressions of Black Orpheus, featuring 16 bonus tracks, including alternate takes and previously unreleased music. Lacquers cut by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio, pressed at RTI. So, let's see. You sort of see the alternate takes there. I don't know if you want to freeze frame that. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't get chosen as a screen grab. It's a very, like, all white. One of my favorite records of this band, probably my favorite, and one of the lesser known, unless you live in England, probably, Madness, The Liberty of Norton Folgate. Your Americans are like, heh? This album came out in 2009. Most people in the US are familiar with Madness for Our House, which gets used ad nauseum in commercials here. But this album was like kind of, in a way, sort of like their Sgt. Pepper type, where it was like a lot of character type songs, or even like Kinks' Village Green or something. This actually features 7 bonus tracks, and the title track, Liberty of Norton Folgate, is like a 10-minute sort of character sketch of like, sort of British characters. And it just proves that Suggs and Madness were still really on fire after their reunion. And check that out. Maybe you want to stream it first to see what you think. But great album. Some other reissues. They Might Be Giants, My Murdered Remains. Great title. This includes download card featuring a full 16-track bonus album, More Murdered Remains. This is the indie exclusive. It says, it includes never streamed dial-a-song rarities. So if you're familiar with that or not familiar, they had a phone service that you could call, and every day they'd have, I think it was every day, they'd have a different song that they'd recorded, and so that's some of the highlights from that. This is kind of interesting. Motorhead's Bad Magic, Seriously Bad Magic, was sort of billed as a best of, but I don't see, like, there's no Ace of Spades on here. What this does have is Sympathy for the Devil and Heroes cover songs. I think this is sort of like an off-market kind of like sort of random rarities kind of record. But yeah, so that's one for like Motorhead aficionados, right? Or people who are big collectors. Off, the first 4 EPs. Off is actually in the process of reissuing some of their old vinyl because they have a newish record out. So you don't see these very often, so it's nice that they're back for a little while. There's a bunch of Denzel Curry being reissued. There's Zoo, these are all pressed on color vinyl. This is indie store exclusive red and green speckled vinyl. Then you get, I don't know how to say this. I think it's just TA 1300. Am I saying that right? Someone will correct me in the comments. This one is on magenta splash vinyl. Interesting cover art. And also Imperial, which is the third here. And this is on black, white, and yellow smoke vinyl. And I think that there's another one or two coming at some point. This one features Joey Badass and Rick Ross. If people who are fans don't remember those, I don't know. Are there too many Denzel Curry fans watching my video? I have no idea. Naughty by Nature. This is 1993. So this was the album featuring Hip Hop Hooray. Daddy Was a Street Corner. Hot Potato. This has a bunch of, it has the Pete Rock remix of Hip Hop Hooray also. So it's got some extra tracks on it. Limited 30th anniversary orange translucent vinyl. And Tommy Boy Records has been doing a lot of these reissues lately. I've shown Information Society. I suppose the big one that I should mention is De La Soul. 3 Feet High and Rising is coming out next week. I don't know if it's still on Tommy Boy. Actually, I need to check that. But whoever's got it, it's coming out next week. Kesha, Animal. So Cannibal is also on the way. I wasn't here for the video, but Animal, this was Kesha's sort of big breakthrough. Or as I call her, K-Dalla. So this had TikTok. Everyone remembers the song TikTok, right? And who knew that the song TikTok would become such an iconic kind of thing overall? But I still think this is probably one of her best records. Also has Take It Off, Your Love Is My Drug, Steven, Party at a Rich Dude's House. Yeah, you kind of get the picture. Sort of electro pop, kind of like Katy Perry with a little more attitude. Ironically, Dr. Luke, I think, produced this, and they had a huge, obviously, falling out with sexual allegations and court cases and all that. So it's kind of taken on a little bit more of a serious note over time. But there was a time that was a fun jam in the car, right? Okay. Everclear, the best stuff. Yeah, this is on a purple and blue splatter vinyl. I think there are different colors of this coming out. These are like not technically official releases. I don't think this is on Cleopatra. But it does feature Santa Monica, Wonderful, Father of Mine, I Will Buy You a New Life, Everything to Everyone. Yeah, there's some covers on here. I Won't Back Down, Unemployed Boyfriend, The Joker, I Will Follow You Into the Dark, Every Breath You Take, AM Radio, and Brown Eyed Girl. So a very much a mixed bag but at least it's a way to get some of those Everclear songs if you've had trouble getting them in other ways. Benny King, Don't Play That Song. This is part of the Atlantic 75th, that series that's been coming out. Clear vinyl, 1962 album includes Stand By Me. Yeah, Benny King, anybody sort of looking for that? Some other reissues. Junior Wells, Hoodoo Man Blues on blue vinyl. Look, they got the sticker upside down. No idea how that happens. I guess it looks almost the same. But this features Buddy Guy in the Chicago Blues Band as well. Yeah, this has his version of Hound Dog. Let's see. Chitlin Con Carne. Yeah, Junior Wells. You don't see those reissued very often. Best of Muddy Waters. This is early, 1948 to 1956. So you're going to get kind of like the raw blues of Muddy at this point. Yeah. Louisiana Blues. I'm Your Hoochie Coochie Man. Got my mojo working. There you go. I don't think that's color vinyl. I don't know. There's no sticker on that. Haircut 100. Well, here's a name you don't see very often. And actually, this was a really enjoyable album for when it came out. It's Nick Hayward's sort of first breakthrough before he went on to be a solo artist. Right after this, the band just like had success and then immediately fell apart. And which is a shame. This is a half-speed master. Pressed on 180 gram vinyl. Features the big hit Love Plus One. Well, that was a top 40 in America, and I think bigger in Europe. And then favorite shirts, Boy Meets Girl, Fantastic Day. Really great kind of like tropical pop kind of stuff. So lots of knit sweaters, and everybody remembers the video of him swinging on that swing dressed like Tarzan with the loincloth. Like, yeah, well, yeah, I guess Nick had the look anyway. So, but it, you know, he went on to do things a little more organic after that, I suppose. But so there's also a series of Owen Pallett records that are coming out if you sort of like his orchestral contributions to things like Arcade Fire and whatever. But this features the 2 EPs, and I think this has been rather hard to find. I'm not sure I've ever seen it on vinyl. But yeah, there's a few songs on there. Here's another Owen. Owen Has a Good Home. All right, and that says 16 songs. And probably the one that is the most... this one I heard a fair amount, and I liked it. But He Poos Clouds. He Poos Clouds. Yes, 10 songs. Yeah. So they're kind of like, I don't know, slightly artistic kind of. Slightly. They're very artistic. Orchestral arrangement. Orchestral pop. Slightly outside the box, right? For those of you who know. Okay, and then some CDs that I have that I didn't have vinyl to show. The new Godsmack vinyl's on the way. Sully Erna still at it. So if you like Godsmack, Algiers. This band, the new album Shook. Interesting band. I keep sort of waiting for them to have a breakthrough. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything from it yet. So the new Logic CD, sort of a hip hop guy. I can never remember her name. Gracie Abrams. Sort of like pop, I guess. Sort of indie. It's not really indie, but because she's on Interscope, but sort of youth pop, I suppose. Iris DeMent, Working on a World. And it's been a long time since I've seen an album from Iris. So people who love her will be looking for this. I see Pieta Brown listed as a producer, and she's had some of her own records. So let's see. Paco de Lucia, The Montreux Years. This, I think, is also available on vinyl, but here we just have the CD right now. And it says the finest performances from 3 legendary concerts. I think they were done in the early 90s. I'm not sure. Savoy Brown, Blues All Around. This is supposedly Kim Simmons' last release as Savoy Brown. He was sort of working on this at the time of his death a few months ago. So it's nice that the guy was still making records up until the end. And then Arthur Adams, Kick Up Some Dust, which is a sort of a blues album. Okay, well, this video is getting longer than I thought it was. So like I said, next week, De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising. Let's hope they actually make it out of the warehouse. Other things, the Miley Cyrus new release, Kali Uchis, if you're sort of into like, those kind of pop women. Phoenix finally coming out on vinyl. That album's been out on CD for a few months now. Well, 3 months, 2, 3 months. The Elvis Costello Burt Bacharach reissue, which looks to be great. There are going to be some previously unreleased material with that. Willie Nelson's new record, Shoo Shoo's new record. Don't usually hear people mention those back to back. Frank Zappa live CDs. I think the vinyl might be coming a little later, but I'm not 100% sure. I need to check that. But those are live concerts from about 1980. And then Andrew Hill, Dance with Death is the Tone Poet release coming out next week, which it's been a little while since we've had a Tone Poet now. They seem to be a little sporadic. I don't know if it's because they're so busy pressing Record Store Day records right now or what, but I'm sure the plants are probably working overtime. So, all right, that sort of covers it for this week. Thanks for watching. I'm a little over. It's about a half an hour. Have a great weekend. And well, here it's like warm and sunny today, and it's gonna drop to bone-chilling cold Saturday. So good time to get out and do some shopping, because what else is there to do except sit by the fire and be bored? All right. Take care. Have a great week. See you next time. Peace.